across the table with him, and then you could have, because you could have at that stage impressed upon by showing the evidences, by your expressions, by your words, by your arguments, explained so many things which your papers probably would not or may not have conveyed those things in that manner. Therefore, in the face of this faceless appeal, now which is almost appearing to be imminent and inevitable, it becomes all the more essential for us to be somewhat more diligent, more livid, more intelligent, more alert as to the importance of the paper book, the way, the manner, the mode, the modus operandi as to how that paper book has to be prepared, then indexed, the inference to be drawn, linked with your written submissions. It is very important. The next issue is how the additional grounds, when and how the additional grounds and or additional evidence should be raised and filed. So ideally, my guru told me, Mr. K.C. Singhal, my guru, who used to be vice president of the tribunal, he told me when in 1984-85, when I qualified chartered accountancy, I went to meet him. At that time, he was practicing. Now he told me, Rakesh, if you lead yourself in such a situation whereby you are forced to move additional evidences, then you take it as if half of the battle is lost. So what does it mean? It means that when you represent it before assessing officer, then you should be in a position based upon your experience and expertise to visualize, to envisage, to contemplate, to see through as to which evidence on facts would be required to convey which point for all times to come, and therefore that evidence should have come before the assessing officer. And some evidence which has come before the assessing officer, you as a matter of right can file it in the paper book, and that appellate authority is duty bound to take cognizance of that evidence. उस अपीलीय अधिकारी के समक्ष और कोई विकल्प होगा ही नहीं कि उस साक्ष्य को संज्ञान में ना ले, इसका कोई विकल्प है ही नहीं उसके समक्ष. So avoid that situation, but then you cannot avoid all situations. Therefore, when you think that some evidence which was also relevant for the purpose and have bearing on the outcome of an issue which is pending before the appellate authority, but which could not be filed, then it would be called as an additional evidence. You are though entitled to file it, but then with certain ifs and buts, with certain conditions. Similarly, all grounds of appeal must be included in the appeal memo. But then there may well be the possibility that some ground was not raised by you. Therefore, section 250, subsection 5, though gives you the power to file an additional ground, but then that right which has been given to you to file additional ground is clothed with corresponding obligations. And those obligations are that you have to impress upon that appellate authority that your prayer for filing this additional ground or this omission not to file this additional ground is appeal memo is not willful and your prayer is not unreasonable. Therefore, when you are confronted with this kind of a situation whereby you are forced to move an additional ground which was not raised by you in original appeal memo, then you must prepare a petition, and that petition must indicate as to what is the additional ground which you want to raise and why this omission from that original appeal memo was not willful, that you have to bring out, and your prayer is not unreasonable. Only then the commissioner appeal, and that too after hearing the opposite party, that is the assessing officer, because it is a justice not only to you, but then the justice to the both parties. I remember I had an occasion to argue the matter before the tribunal, and it was a case of an additional evidence. Justice Mr. N.S. Chopra used to be the accountant member at that time. I said, my lord, in the interest of justice, now this evidence should be admitted. I do remember very vividly, because in the initial years of your life, something which is said, now that becomes an embedded, almost permanent in your brain. I do remember he said, yes, of course, we are here to effect substantial justice, but then not only to you, we have got the other party also, substantial justice to both. And therefore, Commissioner Appeal for that matter also has to extend substantial justice to both parties. And therefore, this additional ground which we will move now would compel the Commissioner Appeal as an adjudicating authority to confront that ground to the opposite party, seek and elicit the response from the opposite party, and then would have to take a conscious and judicious call as to whether this ground, if at all, should be admitted for consideration or not. You forget about the adjudication on merit, that will come later. So I always say that had you included this ground in your original appeal memo, in that situation you could have asked as a matter of right to that appellate authority, sir, that ground was there in appeal memo, kindly adjudicate it. Now, you having not included it in the appellate ground, now have created this kind of a situation where you are craving for justice, even for the purpose of admission of that ground, which was otherwise a matter of right. Similarly, any evidence which could not be filed by you, it must be moved by you with a petition. Never remain under this impression that you can slip and ship any evidence in the paper book, even if it was not filed before the lower authority or before the assessing officer. Now, entire electronic record will be available to the Commissioner Appeal when he would dispose your appeal, even in this faceless regime of appeal. Because that electronic record can be accessed from any place, anywhere. And therefore, when that electronic record would be accessible to him, then he would see that the evidence which you are seeking to place not as an additional evidence, in fact, is an additional evidence or not. So therefore, this evidence which was not filed you, then you will have to move a petition. You will have to list out as to what has led you not to have filed it at that time up to the close of the assessment, and what prevented you from filing this at that stage, and what are the compulsive reasons that you are now constant to file it. We have got Rule 46 capital A. This your right and obligations to file additional evidence is codified by the rule making authority pursuant to the exercise of power which is there under CBDT under section 295. Rule 46A having been made part of the income tax rules 1962, you'll have to make out a case that you were not heard. Assessing officer decided an issue without adverting to this aspect of this issue, or you were prevented by adducing this evidence when you were called upon to file, or in any case you were prevented from adducing this. You'll have to make out your case within the parameters, within either one or more of those 4 clauses of Rule 46 capital A. And then in that situation, again, the same principle of natural justice will have to, as the principle of natural justice has to be extended to you, the principle of natural justice will have to be extended to the other party also, that is the assessing officer. The assessing officer now would be asked, now this assessee which is saying that he was prevented by sufficient cause because he was not heard, or for whatever reasons you advance in your petition. Now whether that is correct or not, or fact. And if it is correct, then also what you have to say on merit of those evidence. Thereafter, that appellate authority first of all will have to adjudicate as to the admission. There is a difference. Admission of additional ground and admission of additional evidences, and then adjudication on additional ground on merit and adjudication of the ground of appeal with reference to these additional evidences. These are two different things, and therefore, by not filing ground in your appeal memo, by not filing evidences to the assessing officer, you have created a situation whereby you have caused some amount of prejudice. It would have been better had it been avoided. It would have been better had it been avoided. Because I always say that something which you can exercise as a matter of right, why to relegate yourself on the mercy of somebody? Somebody means that adjudicating authority. Though that mercy is not an arbitrary mercy, it is a judicial discretion. And when I say the judicial discretion, the discretion has to be exercised on the basis of certain principles of justice, equity, and good conscience. It cannot be said to be it cannot be exercised arbitrarily at mere whim and fancy. And but then, even if it is a judicial mercy, even if it is judicial discretion, some amount of subjectivity cannot be ruled out. Therefore, better avoid such kind of situation. Effective written submissions. No, again, there cannot be any hard and fast tool of preparing effective written submissions. But then, based upon my experiences and based upon the experiences which I have seen many of my friends preparing written submissions in this manner, which in my humble understanding may not be said to be conducive. So what I see, it's not final, again it is a suggestion, humble suggestion. With respect to each ground, let us make it simpler. There is only one ground. Now with respect to the one ground, if you permit me, can I? First of all, your first para should capture the grievance. And the more proficient you will keep on becoming, your grievance would be captured and crystallized by you in minimum possible words. I tell you, I always say, I say to my son also, I had seen late finance minister Arun Jaitley arguing the matters, and even on the TV debate I see Abhishek Manu Singhvi, or for that matter Mr. Kapil Sibal. I mean, they are gems of the profession. You will find that how succinctly, in a summarized and condensed manner, they put their arguments to the point. So it becomes so as a result of your expertise which you gain every day. So your first para should capture the issue, so that anybody who is reading that para should come to know, oh, this is the grievance, and for this reason this grievance has come in this form. Then your next segment of written submissions, according to me, should be that those admitted facts which have got bearing on the adjudication of this issue. अतुल जी का फोन आ रहा है, मैं ले लूं जरा. हाँ अतुल जी, अच्छा ज्वाइन कर लिया है उन्होंने. तो मैं रुक जा. आई एम सॉरी बिकॉज आई वाज नॉट टोल्ड. नहीं कोई बात नहीं. आई विल क्विकली साइन ऑफ. ठीक है, ओके, थैंक यू. यस, आई हैव बीन टोल्ड दैट ऑनरेबल वाइस प्रेसिडेंट इज हियर, एंड देयरफॉर it will be unbecoming for me to hold him, because he must be having much more pressing engagements. So I was on the aspect of yes, written submissions. Then admitted facts, those facts which have been admitted by you and admitted by the tax department, because if any fact which has been admitted both parties, then to that extent, I mean, your way forward is simpler. But only those facts, admitted facts, I mean, which have got bearing on the determination of this point of dispute. The next is that those facts which you want them to be proved, which the other party, that is the income tax department, is disputed, and therefore you will support all those facts. Why should those facts be accepted as you are claiming, based upon some pleadings and evidences? Now, in the light of these admitted facts and the proved facts, then what is the position of law? And then on the position of law, if applied on the admitted fact and proved fact, then what is the outcome which should be there and which should be accepted by the appellate authority? And then what are the judicial decisions in your favor? And lastly, it should come that which are the adverse observations one by one taken by an assessing officer that you must deal. Because why I'm saying so, I have seen many times my friends, they are jumbling up. They are proving their case at the same time. The next line, they are assailing what the assessing officer has done. Therefore, it doesn't make any coherence or cohesive written submissions. So ideally, it should be made like this. And the last issue was that how sweet and sour this journey of the faithful or the interface. Faithful, I have used it in that sense only. Uh, Journey from faithful to less face to faceless appeal. Though there is one more issue which was very important, but then we'll have to keep it for some other time. Very important. My very good friend Mr. K.M. Roy from Calcutta asked me specifically in the morning that I must deal on sorry, after all, we have to observe the protocol. Honorable Vice President
नहीं
is
नहीं
here.
सर, एक्चुअली ही ज्वाइंड एट 5:45, तो मैं सोच रहा था अभी तो बहुत संकोच में मैंने आपको फोन किया सर, इसके लिए
नहीं.
एट 5:45.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Uh,
My apologies to my
नहीं नहीं नहीं
honorable
सर, नॉट इट इज अ मैटर ऑफ apology at all, sir. It is a learning and you are sharing the knowledge. And actually, he was supposed to join us at 4, but due to some
I can understand.
he couldn't join us. Then he told me I will join at 5:45. So he was on time.
So yeah, now kindly let us not hold him, sir. Let us
Okay, okay.
please go on. Please go on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Abhi we will continue.
Yes.
Now, friends, I am sorry to all of you, since he has to leave, has to go somewhere else. We are fortunate enough that we have our Vice President Nihar and Jambu Sariya ji, who is a dedicated and working day and night along with his entire team, entire council. So now I directly invite Nihar sir for his words of wisdom. And Nihar sir.
Thank you, Atulji, and my very sincere apology to Rakesh ji, because I had another video conference meeting along with the president, which I will have to attend. So I had to request Atulji if it is possible to speak. But then my request is that your talk was so interesting and the participants would really miss listening to it. So I'll complete very fast and only deliver a message to the members, which I need to. After that, if time permits, you may please continue. That is my request. Friends, it's a great pleasure to know that 3 branches, Bilaspur, Dhanbad and Jabalpur, are jointly holding this meeting, and that too by a speaker who would generally be very difficult to be available physically at your place. Because of this pandemic, although so much of damage has been caused to the mankind, but there are certain opportunities also created by the pandemic. And probably this is the opportunity which we are availing for last 6 months, taking this knowledge, grasping this knowledge, and really doing what we could not have done. We are sharpening our saw. And more especially, let me communicate one message, that even at the institute, we have realized that the initiative of automation and digitization was taken about a year back, but it was on slow track. When the pandemic struck and we all got under the lockdown, probably we all on our own speeded up our digital maturity initiative. And at the institute, you have seen that through the digital accounting and assurance standard board, a number of programs on digital competency have been undertaken, and you all must be taking advantage of those programs. Today, the topic is faceless assessment. And what Rakesh ji was saying, I was listening, and it is so relevant that so far we had the benefit of physical presence and written communication to the income tax department in faceless assessment, in assessment and appeal. But now that they have resorted to compulsory and mandatory faceless assessment and faceless appeal, the kind of skill that we will require will be very different. As rightly put by Rakesh ji, that we had the benefit of our presentation in writing and also communicating everything that we have written in a different way through our body language, through our facial expression, through our speech, and through the expressions that we can give and the inputs that we get from his facial uh, expression. Now we will be missing that, and therefore our writing skill, representation skill has to be very different. And this we will have to prove. Of course, our profession has withstood all kind of challenges, and even this challenge we will withstand with all our programs and communication and knowledge sharing sessions, where we will develop the skill as to how to make representation so effective that even in faceless assessment we have the minimum damage done to our client. So today's topic is so important, and I would request Atulji and chairman of all three branches that
Yes, sir.
you continue these efforts of joint seminars and joint webinars.
Sir.
In our next CPE meeting, we are going to facilitate further more joint webinars and joint video conference meetings. So from next month, you will have further more facilitation. At present, joint video conference meetings are limited and restricted. We are going to open it because the lockdown is not fully opening, and it would be very difficult for branches to conduct physical meetings. So we
Yes, sir.
will facilitate that, and all these initiatives that you have taken, the institute is noting, and we are so happy that all our branches are contributing equally. Not only the council members are contributing, but the branches from the ground are also contributing equally. So I am so happy. And in future, whenever the branch requires any help, please feel free to communicate to us. We are always available to solve any difficulty that you may be facing on the ground. Uh, this is the message that I wanted to communicate, and particularly take advantage of Digital Learning Hub. We have uploaded programs where very learned and senior speakers have spoken. Today you have the benefit of such senior faculty like Rakesh ji, and for even for me, it is so pleasant to hear him. And I at once I felt he goes on speaking, I go on listening. But for this another meeting, I would not have requested Atulji to disturb this uh, session at all. So thank you very much for inviting me, and my sincere thanks to all the members.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for a few minutes. And it's very good news for, as you said, that you are going to open the restrictions or the guidance, issuing the guidelines for the joint meetings and all. Sir, it is a very good news for all the branches, especially the small branches. Sir, it is appreciated a lot, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Rakesh sir, now over to Rakesh sir for some concluding remarks, or you, sir, we don't have any time constant. You may continue because you received the messages from Calcutta itself. So if you want, sir, we are willing to learn. we are willing to learn. Now it's totally upon you that whether if you want, you can continue, sir. We don't have any issues.
No, no, it's all right. But then I have concluded it, and I have got family engagements also. So
Okay,
I
sir.
would,
So,
I'll
sir,
come some other time. I'll come. I am always available, sir.
okay, sir. If there are any questions, if we
Yes,
have,
that I will take. That I will take.
yes. So I request all the branches if they are having any questions. I have one question just received on my mobile. Sir, I have a question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
As per section 148 of the Act, the AO must record the reasons for reopening and completing the case, but in faceless, how it is possible, because reasons recorded by the jurisdictional AO, but case is completed by NEC, and both are different persons.
No, I mean, it has been so provided that 148 statutory safeguards which are there will have to be taken by the jurisdictional assessing officer, and thereafter the matter will go to NEAC, and then the NEAC will pick up the thread from that stage. So the jurisdictional assessing officer's initial action, thereafter supplemented by the NEAC, that will become the complete assessment folder. And an SSE, I mean, is aggrieved for whichever part of this entire folder now is entitled to raise this issue before the appropriate appellate authority. So I don't see any this thing in this.
Okay, thank you, sir. Manish ji, Charanjit ji, and Vivek ji, if you are having any questions, then
I think there are no questions in the chat box. I think
okay,
there are
sir.
no.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And again, we are sorry that
No, no. नहीं, कोई बीच में नहीं है. I mean, there is always a time limit for everything.
जी जी.
Always time limit.
वो इसलिए starting में.
Sir,
So
excuse me.
Yeah.
Sir, excuse me. Actually, there is no chat box here, so one cannot post there.
Okay.
Actually, there is no post because chat box is there.
Sir,
There is
yes,
a query from
technical
member.
issues,
There is one query.
Yes. What is the query? Please ask, sir.
Yes, a query is that.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes in assessment order there is a gross mistake.
Okay.
There is a gross mistake. If you appeal against it, or you file a rectification under section 154, it takes very much time. So
Sir,
whether there is any,
my experience of 35 years is like this.
Yeah.
That somehow the institutions have not created enough confidence in me that if there is an apparent error, that will always be rectified, and within what time it should be rectified, even though there is a statutory time limit of 6 months in 154. Therefore, instead of waiting for such thing which is in the realm of, or in the womb of time, which is in the womb of time, and then thereafter then think in terms of filing appeal, when ultimately, suppose if it doesn't dispose, then what would happen? You will keep on waiting, and that demands Damocles sword will keep on hanging on your head.
And we have to deposit the money 20% before filing the appeal.
Before filing appeal, where is this law? There is no pre-deposit. So that is a different matter. But then what do you think that by not filing appeal, you will not be required to deposit any money?
Yeah, we have to file the money on the basis of the assessment order by the assessing officer.
No, Manishji, probably, I mean, there is some gap. Now, if the demand has been raised by the assessing officer,
Yes.
you probably harbor this kind of a belief that the moment you file an appeal, then you cannot file appeal unless you pay 25% of demand. Number one, no. There is no pre-deposit requirement like the GST or as there used to be. Yes, later on, if you want to move a stay petition or you simultaneously want to move stay petitions, then that stay will be granted on the subject of payment. But then there is no pre-deposit for the maintainability.
No pre-deposit, but I want if I want to stay, then I will have to deposit 20% of the demand.
So in any case, even if the assessing officer has raised demand, you have not filed appeal, you will not go in for a stay.
I can go for a stay.
So I mean that requirement is same in both the situations.
In both the situations.
Yes.
But the thing is there any, if there is grievances, is there any remedy for the any assessee to save from the grievances?
From which grievance?
Sir, that means if the demand is raised, then what to do on the basis of the wrong facts in the
Sir,
assessment order?
You are saying wrong. Whether that is wrong or not will have to be said by an authority who is competent under the law to say it is wrong. Even for that matter, a quasi-judicial officer, assessing officer is a quasi-judicial officer. Unless his order is set aside by a competent authority, I mean that demand is in accordance with law, the law of this country.
Sir,
Therefore,
but what happened, sir? Some document was sought, and that was duly filed. And still, in the assessment order, it is written that this document has been not filed.
So Manish ji, if you are going on the platform on the roadside, if somebody comes and hits you, then what would you do? I mean, so this is like that. Accident does happen. These one may take as the costs of existence. I mean, these may take as the cost of other life is a package. You cannot dissect. You cannot dissect only good things belong to us, bad things do not belong to us. It comes, and if the system has made such kind of a system, then we all will have to all will have to endure.
Abide it, yes.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, there is a some members are raising their hands. So first is Kamaljeet Singh Chawda ji हैं. Kamaljeet Chawda जी.
सर बोलिए.
अविनाश जी जरा उनको अनम्यूट करिए.
जी सर.
कमलजीत छावड़ा जी.
सर छावड़ा सर बोले हैं.
Till that time there is a Tanmay Jain.
हेलो.
हाँ जी.
हाँ छावड़ा साहब बता.
आवाज आ रही है?
सर कोई इशू नहीं है सर.
कोई इशू नहीं है सर.
अरे you raise the hand.
सर ही raised.
वो सर चैट आपने बोला था चैट बॉक्स है, बट चैट बॉक्स नहीं है. मैं उनके उसके लिए लौटाया था एक्चुअली.
सर वो मेरी तारीफ करने के लिए उठाया था सर हाथ उन्होंने.
सर तो आपकी तारीफ तो पूरे देश में होती है सर. तन्मय जैन
तारीफ करके सूरज को दिया दिखाना है.
अरे नहीं सर मैं तो कुछ भी नहीं हूँ. मेरे बड़े भाई दोषी साहब बैठे हुए हैं. मतलब मैं तो I am honored by the presence of such galaxy and such learned.
जी सर.
So,
thank you so much, sir, for your sharing the knowledge, and I am sure that we all have been benefited today, and we will again आप बांटते रहें और हम लोगों को आपका ज्ञान मिलता रहे, और हम लोगों को आपकी वजह से कॉन्फिडेंस बना रहता है कि जब भी कोई इशू होगा तो राकेश गुप्ता जी से पूछ लेंगे और आगे बढ़ जाएंगे. So thank you so much. Over to Shivam Agarwal for the formal vote of thanks. Shivam,
अनम्यूट कर लो भैया अपने आप को. शिवम.
Sorry, sir. Yeah, a graceful and very warm evening to the most valued guest, CA Nihar N. Jambusaria sir, the Honorable Vice President of ICI. Our valued speakers of the day, CA Rakesh Gupta sir and CA Somil Agarwal sir. Our moderator of today's session, CA Atul Gupta sir, also the Vice Chairman of CIRC of ICI.
अरे अतुल गुप्ता जी प्रेसिडेंट है यार अपने.
अतुल
मल्होत्रा सर.
सॉरी कोई.
सर आपने कहा ना रिश्तेदारी है तो इसलिए उन्होंने गुप्ता बना दिया सर आपको.
Treasurer of CIRC of ICI, CA Shashikant Chandrakar sir, the management committee of members of Bilaspur, Dhanbad and Jabalpur branch, and last but not the least, all the member chartered accountants gathered over here. A very good evening to all of you. It is my privilege to have been asked to propose a formal vote of thanks on this occasion. I, on behalf of Dhanbad, Bilaspur, and Jabalpur branch, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to the chief guest, the Honorable Vice President of ICI, who spared time from his busy schedule to grace the occasion. I thank all these speakers, CA Rakesh Gupta sir and CA Somil Agarwal sir, for gracing their crucial work and sharing with us their opinion and finding this present time. Sir, we are grateful for this time and effort you took to share your thoughts and experience with us today in the seminar. Rakesh Gupta sir, your enthusiasm is contagious and the way you delivered the content was very, very interesting. And
Yes.
I believe all of us were all ears throughout your speech. You shared your experience of more than 3.5 decades with us. And sir, I believe everyone got benefited with your experience and knowledge that you shared with us. So we hope to see you in our next seminars also. Somil Agarwal sir also enlightened us on the procedures and provision of faceless assessment. And sir, your presentation was very detailed and informative. And I strongly believe that all our delegates have got benefited with it. And so we also received request for the presentation to be shared. So I would request you to share your presentation with us so that I can share that with our members also. Finally, I would like to thank all the members who attended this VCM and made it a grand success. The audience is the backbone of any program, and we are very thankful for you for being with us today.
Yes.
With these words, I hand over to the moderator, C. Atul Mehrotra, sir.
So I think now there is no any other matter to be continued. So we conclude the meeting, and thank you so much once again, all of you, all the attendees, all my seniors, Rakesh Gupta ji, Somil ji, and it was a very nice. And I think sir, more than 400 members were there to listen our Rakesh Gupta ji, and sir, thank you so much, thank you so much, thank you so much. सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. स्वस्थ रहिए सब लोग, मस्त रहिए, मुस्कुराते रहिए और ज्ञान बांटते रहिए. थैंक यू सो मच. हाँ जी अविनाश जी.
Avinash, can we conclude?
हेलो, हाँ जी सर.
Yeah, can we conclude, Avinash?
हेलो.
अभी भी देखिए आपके 200 लोग हैं अभी भी ज्वाइन किए हुए.
Avinash,
हेलो.
Avinash, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही क्या?
हाँ भैया, अब आ रही है. हेलो.
अरे Avinash,
जी नमस्कार.
हेलो.
हाँ, हेलो.
जी मनीष भाई.
अविनाश, conclude करो, close करो. हेलो. अविनाश, मीटिंग को एंड कर लो.